The 10 Commandments revisited. The sun hung heavy over the plains of Moab, casting long shadows across the tents of Israel. Moses, his face etched with the wisdom of many years and the harshness of the desert, stood upon a jagged outcropping. Below him, thousands gathered, a new generation born in the wilderness. Beside him stood Elian, a young man whose eyes were fixed on the distant silhouette of the promised land. "Listen, O Israel," Moses' voice rang out, steady and powerful. "The covenant God made at Horeb was not just for our ancestors who have passed. It was made with us, all of us who are alive here today." Moses closed his eyes for a moment, as if the heat of the mountain was still warming his skin. "The Lord spoke to you face to face from the heart of the fire," he reminded them. "I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare the word of the Lord, for you were afraid of the flame." He described the mountain trembling, the thick clouds, and the voice that sounded like 1,000 crashing waves, yet spoke with terrifying clarity. Elian felt a shiver run down his spine, imagining a voice so powerful it could shake the earth itself. "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of slavery," Moses proclaimed, repeating the first great words. He explained that identity began with knowing who had set them free. "You shall have no other gods before me." He warned against the hollow promises of idols made by human hands. Elian watched Moses' face, realizing that these were not just rules, but the foundations of their freedom. Without God as their center, they would simply become slaves to something else. Moses spoke of the weight of words and the gift of time. "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord," he cautioned, explaining that God's name carried his very presence. Then, his voice softened as he spoke of the Sabbath. "Observe the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you labor, but the 7th is a rest to the Lord." He reminded Elian that even a slave deserves rest, for God had rescued them from a life of endless, bitter toil. Rest was an act of trust. "Honor your father and your mother," Moses continued, looking toward the families gathered in the camp. He explained that the wisdom of the past was the bridge to their future. Beside Elian, his mother Zuri stepped forward, her hand finding his. Moses emphasized that by honoring their parents, their days would be long and prosperous in the land they were about to inherit. It was a command that bound the generations together in a chain of respect and love. The air grew still as Moses moved to the commands that protected the community. "You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery." He spoke of the sanctity of life and the sacredness of the promises made between a man and a woman. He explained that a nation is only as strong as the trust its people have in one another. Moses' gaze was piercing, reminding them that their actions toward their neighbors were, in fact, their actions toward God. "You shall not steal," Moses declared, "and you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor." Elian thought about how easy it was to want what wasn't his, or to twist the truth to make himself look better. Moses explained that honesty was the currency of a free people. To steal or to lie was to tear a hole in the fabric of the nation before they had even set foot across the Jordan River. Finally, Moses spoke of the invisible battles within the heart. "You shall not covet your neighbor's house or land or anything that belongs to them." He explained that greed starts in the mind long before it reaches the hands. "True prosperity," Moses said, looking directly at Elian, "is being content with the blessings God has given you." Elian realized that the law wasn't just about what he did, but about who he was becoming on the inside. Moses recounted how the leaders of the tribes had come to him at Horeb, trembling. "We have seen God's glory," they had said, "but if we hear his voice any longer, we will die." They had begged Moses to be their mediator. Moses reminded the people that God had heard their plea and agreed, "Oh, that their hearts would be inclined to fear me and keep all my commands always," God had whispered to Moses. The fire was not meant to consume them, but to refine them. So be careful to do what the Lord your God has commanded you, Moses concluded, his voice echoing across the valley. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Walk in all the way that the Lord has commanded, so that you may live and prosper. Elian looked at the path ahead. The commandments weren't a fence to keep them in, but a map to lead them home. With a final glance at the mountain of the past, he prepared to step into the future.
Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow for another inspiring episode. And please subscribe to support our channel.